Hello, everyone, and we are back with another Only One Hotspur podcast. I know it has been, I think, fair to say a fair while, but obviously people have stuff to do. Before Wes mentions it, I've got a new job. Wes has been busy as well, so obviously other things come first during them times. But we thought we'd come back today because Jose Mourinho has now been in charge for a whole year. So we thought we would reflect on that decision of obviously sacking Pochettino and bringing in Jose. So obviously I'll come straight over to you, Wes. First question is, do you think it was the right call at the right time?
Before I start, just want to say a big congratulations to you on landing your new job. Hope it is going well for you. Do I think it's the right, or it has been the right decision? I think it's probably one of those where it's seeming like at the moment, yes, it has been the right decision. But listen, I think majority of Spurs fans will always hold a special place in their heart for Mauricio Pochettino. I mean, I still call him the gaffer. So that says everything. I think he was the person that made us believe, and he made us dream again. We've not had that for a long, long time. But Jose, I think coming in, we know what he's like as a manager. We know his record, and he will get us over the line. I mean, when he came in, obviously we were mid-table, 14th in the Premier League, and yeah, there was stuff going on behind the scenes. You could tell something wasn't right behind the scenes at the club, and a decision had to be made. And I think it was a reluctant decision from the chairman. I don't think he really wanted to do it because of his relationship with Pochettino, but there was something that just within him that said that he had to do something. He had to make the change before it got any worse. And look, since Jose's come in, he's taken us from 14th, and we're now sitting second in the Premier League as it stands today. So, you know, on evidence, it would suggest that the decision's been right. It's been vindicated. There's been a hell of a lot that's gone on in between, as I'm sure everybody's aware. But yeah, I think so far it's proven right. And if you'd have said that to me a year ago, you know, my answer would have been very, very different. But yeah, I think so far it's proven right. I don't know if you think anything else or whatnot, but yeah, that's just my take on it.
Yeah, that's the thing. I remember when obviously it all sort of happened. Funnily enough, I was in bed really ill with bad food poisoning. I woke up. I was like, oh, Pochettino's gone. And I ended up falling back asleep. And then I woke up the next morning. Oh, that was quick. But in the run up to that, I remember I think it was a bit weird, the timing, because it was during an international break, but it was near the end of the international break, if I remember correctly. I think everyone at the start of international break was thinking, are they going to do it? Is it going to happen? Is he gone? And then obviously the longer it went on, it was like, oh, obviously they're keeping a trust in him and everything like that. And it just sort of came out of the blue. Everyone was like, oh, he has done it. That's a bit weird. No one's going to be in charge for the next game. And then obviously Mourinho was appointed 6 o'clock, something ridiculous the next morning. And we're like, oh, okay. But I think in the build-up before Pochettino was sacked, I think we actually spoke about it before. I think it was on another podcast with someone else, and and I remember being asked a question, about Pochettino and everything, and if he did go, who I would maybe like to come in, and I think I actually did mention Jose because that because of his record, because we've always been we've been the Nearly men, we've been the Nearly club. And Jose isn't the Nearly man. Let's put it that way. He will get the job done. As you said, he'll get you over the line. And I think that was what the club needed. And I know you was a bit more sceptical of him coming in because of his reputation. You know, he's 2-3 year man at most in jobs. Like, I remember you mentioning that a lot. But I think, you know, at the minute, it's all looking happy families apart from Danny Rose, isn't it? You know, it's all looking quite good. And, you know, as you said, second in the league, you know, Kane's on fire. You know, I'm sure everyone's watched the Amazon documentary. If you haven't, get out from under your rock. You know, I'm going to make you explode. And I think he is sort of proving that he will, and he's proved that Paul Merson doesn't have a clue what he's doing. So, or saying. So if you ever want to be working in football, giving your opinion on football, never give up, because just look at Paul Merson and the stuff what he's been saying and how silly he is. I would like to say more on that, but it's keep it family friendly. But I think, yeah, I'm quite happy with Jose in charge at the minute. Like, I think he's doing a really good job. I think people go, oh, we could have done better here, there. But if you remember, like, all the injuries we had, all the other problems we had, you know, it wasn't the easiest job to come into, I think, because the players were quite, like, run down sort of thing. Like, I always believe, I've believed that, I think a big thing with the last run of Poch was the players just lost all belief. The players lost belief in themselves, in the club, because we're the nearly club. We've got to the. I haven't quite done it. We're in a 2-horse race with Leicester. We finished third. You know, stuff like that, and you know, as they say. And I think to bring Jose in at that time, it's like, okay, the club isn't going to stand for that. But then the players are thinking, oh yeah, but is this just going to be another nearly thing? And I think it took a few of the players to understand, okay, you know, Jose really is here to win. He'll do anything to do it. Then obviously we get the injuries, you know, and you just can't really get on with that. But I don't think there was that much press when we had all them injuries like Liverpool have, bless them. Just thought I'd mention that, you know, it's not the Premier League, it's the Liverpool League. But I think he's done a really good job. Personally, I think, and I do believe more things will be coming. Like, going to that Amazon documentary again, I think him and Daniel Levy seem to get on well. On, you know, already, I think they got an understanding and a way the club, you know, a way they want the club to go. I think they've got the same vision and they're both hungry to get it. Obviously, Jose Mourinho is not going to take any nonsense, you know, like the Danny Rose stuff. Like Danny Rose coming in, pretty much demanding to play more and stuff like that. But in reality, in his last game, what he played, he had like 6% pass accuracy in the first half or something ridiculous like that. Behave. You don't deserve to be playing if you've got that bad passing accuracy, like, and people coming in doing a better job. Just behave. Like, and obviously he's shown that he will not take any nonsense. And I think Toby Alderweireld has actually come out and said something similar. Like, if you work for him, you know, he'll back you and everything. And, you know, that if you're annoying, I think that's the way he said it. I think if you're annoying, you pretty much out. And I think that's a little dig at Danny Rose, because obviously, as Danny Rose said, pretty much out in all the other defenders, didn't he? So I think Toby Alderweireld went, right then, come on then, sunshine, I'm going to get you back here. But yeah, I think it's the right move at the right time, personally, and I think I'm quite hopeful for the future as well, like, especially this season. Like, have you got anything to say on what I said?
Just on the Danny Rose thing, have you heard anything from Milan? You know, but no, I think the Amazon documentary, I think, all right, from Levy's perspective, absolute masterstroke, because the amount of people that were talking about Tottenham was ridiculous, right? Everyone was watching it. So the club are generating money that way. But you're watching it and you're thinking, okay, what type of person is Jose? Because I think, we only see a certain percentage of Jose. But actually watching that documentary, I think a lot of people were like, okay, maybe he's not what we thought. He's actually like an all right person instead of being, the bad cop all the time. He's actually like all right. And I think, like I say, that changed a lot of people's opinions and perceptions of Jose. He's a guy that cares a lot for not only the players, but for them as people. And I think that goes a long, long way with players. Like, having the little one-to-one meetings with a couple of players and stuff like that. I think that was, I guess that kind of goes on at every club anyway. But I think, and I do think he probably had more one-to-ones, but Amazon decided to show Kane, Dele and Eric Dyer. So obviously Kane and Dele at the time, two standout players for Tottenham, and Dyer, a player that Jose's courted, a couple of times. And then the whole Danny Rose thing, which I thought was quite interesting because there was a link with Danny Rose and Man United at one point before Danny Rose decided to do an interview with The Sun and mess it all up, really. So, yeah, but like I said, I think that documentary was really, really good, really insightful. And I didn't actually realise until watching that documentary just how many injuries we actually had last season. It was crazy. It was almost like we'd get one back and then two were injured. And, and we had a pretty packed schedule as well. So it was like pretty much a game every 3 days. So, that in itself is difficult when you're trying to implement your playing style, your methodology on the team and on the players. With such a quick turnaround in games, you're playing away at, say, Old Trafford on a Wednesday, come back, train Thursday, and you've got another game on the Saturday. It's relentless. But I think our squad is almost built for that, with the size of it and things like that. But I think one of Jose's masterstrokes from that documentary was actually after the United game, because obviously we lost 1-0, his first defeat, a lot of press talk, the apprentice had done the master, obviously with Ole beating Jose, Jose's first thing that he came back in and done for training was have a little fun game. And all of a sudden, because the players were down, we didn't really perform that well. In stark contrast, the last time we went to Old Trafford, absolutely done them over 6-1. But yeah, I think, the masterstroke was just having a little fun game in training, and then all of a sudden, the United result and the United game's part, no one's thinking about it, no one's talking about it, and everybody's spirits are lifted again. So I actually think that was a massive, massive masterstroke from Jose, just to do something like that, and that comes then into his man management, which I think so far, by and large, has been good. He's rewarding players through their hard work, and if they slip and if they drop off, the relentless nature of sport, let alone football, but sport in general is, well, if you're not performing, especially in a team sport, if you're not performing, we'll get somebody in that is going to perform. And I think the classic case of that is Tanganga. Was performing well in training, and then Jose felt he was ready. I mean, to get thrown in at the deep end against Liverpool, a team that's absolutely flying in the Premier League, to get thrown in the deep end like he did, but then actually what a performance from him. I mean, nobody had
on clearance within like a few minutes as well. That probably helped his nerves, didn't it?
Yeah, but I think, with JT, everybody, like, nobody had heard of him, really. Like, no fan had really heard about him. Obviously, there's people in the club that know his qualities and things like that, but no fan had really heard of him. But then to come in, and it's almost like he was actually at one point like our saving grace for our back line. So, yeah, and I think obviously he got rewarded an extended run in the team. He's now signed a new contract, which I think everybody was buzzing about. So yeah, obviously he hasn't played too much this time around, but hopefully when he is fit again, he'll get straight back in the team. Hopefully, because he's been top class for us, and things like that. And I think like now we're seeing, Ndombele coming back into the fold and just ripping it. Like it's flashes, it's still flashes from Tongi and Ndombele, but with those, he just oozes class and quality. But I think we just need a bit more from him. And I think, who was it? Emil Heskey, I think, said recently that we want him to dominate games a little bit more, and I completely agree, because he's got the capability to do it. Obviously, Dele's situation, it's one of those, everybody's saying that Jose called him lazy in training, but nobody's reporting the fact that Jose actually called Dele into his office and told him that he liked him. And nobody's reporting on the fact that Fergie told Jose to sign Dele. So my feeling on Dele is that he will stay, and that he will fight for his place. I don't buy the fact that he's not in Jose's plans at all, because of those conversations in the documentary. So that's my view on Dele. But at the same time, he's got to, like I say, fight for his place and show that he wants it a little bit more. I think if and when he does that, I think Jose will be a bit more forgiving of him. I don't know if everybody's saying about the Pogba kind of treatment at the moment, but then, I think Jose has a record of at least one player, if you like, that I wouldn't say he picks on, I don't think that's the right phrase, but he just ruffles up a little bit is probably the right way to go about it. And just, puts a little something to see how they handle it, and stuff like that. I think I remember an interview Joe Cole done in his time when he was at Chelsea. Mourinho told him how much he loved him and how important he was going to be for Chelsea. The next day, Jose goes and signs 2 players that are in his position. So all of a sudden, he's thinking, right, okay, it's almost that keeping them on their toes kind of thing. I think Jose's trying it with Dele. It's just about how Dele responds, and it may take time. Obviously, it looked like he was trying it with Ndombele, and it's taken Tongi a bit of time to get there, and he's now coming into the side. But yeah, I think, by and large, I think Jose's done all right given the circumstances. I think he's done all right. I think we'll get something this year. What that is, I don't know. I really don't know. Speaking to somebody yesterday, they reckon that we could win the league, and that we will win the league. I think we can win the league, by the way. Whether we will or not is another question. But I think we've got the players to win the league, and we've got the squads. We've certainly got the manager to win the league, but we've got the squad to win the league. But I don't think we'll do it. But the thing is, as the guy I was speaking to yesterday mentioned, there's a few teams that are being a bit inconsistent at the minute, and that's almost what opened the door for Leicester all those years ago. The fact that teams were just inconsistent in and around them, dropping little points here and there, and
injuries as well.
Yeah, and then Leicester just kept going. So, maybe if there's a similarity for us, who knows? I think we've got a favourable draw in the League Cup. I think if you was to literally pick any team out of that draw, it would have been Stoke. Probably not away on a Wednesday night, because we know that can we do it on a cold Wednesday night away at Stoke? Who knows? So yeah, I think we're onto something good. But yeah, Joe, I just want to touch on recruitment under Jose. What are your thoughts on his recruitment so far?
The recruitment's an interesting one, but just quickly on the Dele thing, I agree with you. I just want to say on that, because I think obviously it's such a big topic at the minute. I agree with you. I can't really see him going anywhere, especially in January. Obviously, if the situation maybe hasn't cleared up or improved by the summer, then that's maybe when I could see him going. But I think with Dele, if you look at like his career so far, he's always been quite happy in his place, if that makes sense. Like, he's always pretty much been guaranteed a starting place. So I think Jose's just coming in and reminding him, you're not guaranteed to. You know, if you do not continuously work hard and everything, you won't be in the starting team. And I think that's literally all he's done. And I think Delhi's like taken that as a bit of a shock. Like, but then again, when Delhi has actually played this season, he hasn't been good. He's done that one good turn in the Europa League. Apart from that, that's it really, isn't it? Let's be completely honest. Like, we all know there's a much better Dele Alli out there than that. So, and we are all rooting for him as well. Like, we all know the ability what this guy has got. And we know that if he can start firing again, obviously Kane is as in the documentary exploded. We've got Son, unreal. We've got Bale back. Oh my goodness, like, that is like every Tottenham fan's dream, isn't it? Like Dele, Kane, Son, Bale. Do you know what I mean? Everyone wants that to happen. So, yeah, that's my view on a Dele thing. But yeah, recruitment. I personally think he's done quite well on the recruitment. However, I do just want to mention Jose Mourinho's first signing. Some of you might not have actually heard of this guy, Gedson Fernandez. If anyone actually finds him, I believe Tottenham might want him back. I don't really know, because we haven't seen him since the Chelsea game. Like, you've barely seen him. Like, that is the most pointless signing ever. It's nearly as pointless as Lopez a few years ago. Like, literally, like. But the thing is, like, I think there is quality in Fernandez, and you've seen the tiny, tiny glimpses of that. But I just think England isn't the right place for him, for his abilities. Apart from that, obviously, then we signed Stevie Wonder, as I always call him. I love the guy. I know he hasn't had the best season so far yet. But, there's quality in there. There's potential in there. I think, obviously, he got a few injuries towards the right back end of the season, didn't he? I think he'd done something to his ankle, if I'm correct in saying. So maybe that's taken a bit of confidence and a bit of something a bit out of him. So it's maybe just trying to get that back again. And I think, obviously, the Europa League game where we lost to Royal Antwerp, how you say their name, I'm not the best with pronunciation. But, he wasn't good at all that game. I think he was probably one of the worst in that game, to be honest. But then when he came on against Ludogorets, he seemed a bit more direct. He seemed a bit more up for it. I know he didn't score anything, but you could see, okay, no, he's trying that bit more. He's wanting to prove a point. I know it didn't quite work out, but at least you could see him, if that makes sense. So obviously you got them two. Then this summer, obviously, he's just like gone and bought quite a few new players. I know your best mate, Højbjerg. Obviously, as everyone knows here, I really wanted to sign him. I thought he would be a great signing. I just want to say, told you so. I think he's been absolutely fantastic. Literally the player we needed in there. Like, I know exactly what you will say. Yeah, he's done his job. Nice and positive man over there. Do you know what I mean? but I think he's been literally the person we needed in that midfield to almost release Ndombele. Like, Højbjerg's always winning that ball back, which is his job, correct. But that was Sissoko's job last season. That was other players' jobs last season. They obviously weren't doing it the best then, were they? So we've got him in. Matt Doherty. I think it's been a slow start from Doherty, to be fair. Obviously, he's got COVID now as well, which is a shame because obviously hope he gets better soon. But obviously, last game, he was the person who got the assist. I don't think it was even the best cross, because it was just like a little looped probably quite easy to defend normally, but Kane just got there before him and obviously put it away. But Matt Doherty's got the assist, and that might bring him some confidence. You know, that's what it takes for a new player sometimes, you know, that bit of confidence. So if you remember right, at the start of the season, Matt Doherty was quite unfortunate with a few penalty decisions. So obviously that might have taken that out of him a bit. Like, oh, for God's sake, when am I going to get a break? When am I going to get, if that makes sense? So obviously you've got Matt Doherty. I think that is a good signing still, because it's improved Serge Aurier a bit. It's made Serge Aurier fight for his place.
Here we go.
But then again, obviously, but knowing that Serge Aurier is going to be playing against City is absolutely scaring me. I haven't slept. You know, obviously, I know exactly who I'm thinking of here, but I don't want to say him just yet. Obviously, Sergio Reguilon. Obviously, I think he's done quite well. I think there's still more in him, especially from the defensive side. I think going forward, he looks good. For a left back, I think, you know, it's pretty decent. You've got Vinicius, a striker. I know, obviously, again, I haven't seen too much of him, unfortunately. But I think that first Europa League game he played, he looked decent, to be fair. He missed a good chance, if I remember correctly. I think it was a header, weren't it? But link-up play and bringing it was really good. And I think there's promising signs there. Is that right? I'm just trying to think. Is there anyone else apart from the obvious? Don't you worry, I haven't forgotten the main man. I'm just going to get onto him in a second. There's no one else, is there? Or is there?
I think there's two more.
Joe Hart. Yeah, it's clicked. The two Joes. How can I forget? Exactly.
That's very poor from you.
Literally, namesake. Look, it's because I'm the main Joe, you see. But no, Joe Hart, I actually, looking at it now, to be fair, I think that was actually a really good signing. Like, I remember when that first came out, I was thinking, what on earth? Why? I was thinking, why? Like, Gazaniga's a pretty decent backup keeper. We've got, I was thinking, why on earth are we going to go and get Burnley's second choice?
Not even second choice, by the way.
I was just thinking, why on earth are we doing this? But, to be fair, it's actually a cracking little signing on a freebie. Like, I think he's on the same amount of money as Michel Vormers or something similar to that. So it's not like it's a massive uproar in wages. And he's brought in, like, experience. He's won things. He's won the league. He's won, you know. So, and he's seemed to have an effect on some of the players. Like, a lot of the players have come out and spoken about him. So, I'll hold my hands up and I admit I got that one quite wrong. I was thinking, what on earth are you doing? What a waste. But fair play. And obviously, Joe Rodon, obviously, I think there's a lot of potential there. But we obviously haven't seen him. And I don't think we'll see him just yet in the league especially. But I think we could see him against Stoke, hopefully. But I think, you know, he could be a good player, hopefully. I don't really know too much about him, but obviously, yeah. But then there is, I can't believe it. I still can't believe it. Like, Bale. But by the way, I just want to say, Tottenham I'm very, very disappointed in, because obviously it was meant to happen on my birthday and everything, and they delayed it. I was like, come on, guys. Like, I was literally like, on my birthday, I was like, yeah, Tottenham have just done the best birthday present ever. It didn't get announced to the Saturday, did it, or whatever? I'm like, thanks. Instead, they were on about they're promoting Alex Morgan and everything, even though we knew that we signed her before. I'm like, come on, Tottenham, like, we want to know Bale signed officially, but he's back, and I think that is brilliant from Tottenham. Like, he's a multiple Champions League winner. It's Bale, like, and it's Tottenham. It's better love story than Twilight. Like, I don't care. It's just, every Tottenham fan wanted him back. I think Bale always wanted to come back if it was possible in any way. I think, and it has happened. Obviously, Bale seems, as Sergio said quite a lot, he seems a lot happier. He's a lot more comfortable. Obviously, bagged the winner against Brighton, absolute hero. And I just think when he's back, I know he's not going to be exactly the player what we used to have because he's now 31 or something like that. But he's still going to bring so much to the side. He's still going to be direct. He's going to be direct in a different way, but still be direct because it is Gareth Bale. And we are still going to see world-class quality because it's Gareth Bale. And I think I've annoyed quite a few people, especially when that was all getting done. I think I've calmed down a little bit now because that's all I spoke about.
It was, yeah.
For probably...
We haven't stopped, really. You haven't stopped.
No. But it is like... Because everyone knows Rafa's my favourite ever Tottenham player just because he's an absolute legend. And he's Van der Vaart. But Bale's right up there as well. And to have him back, it's like, as a Tottenham fan growing up, a younger Tottenham fan, and then to bring him back, you're like, oh, like, hello, sunshine. You know what I mean, though? It is just, it's almost like a kid in a candy shop, or it's like you're just happy. And I think it has brought that to the club as well, though. I know that might sound ridiculous, but I think everyone's in like, we've got Bale back. Like other players, like Kane, like, you know, because he is a superstar, Bale. No, I know, you know, he hasn't been there for maybe a couple of years or whatever, but everyone knows of his class and, you know, he was the record signing at one point, you know, which says it all. And he's now back at Tottenham, Daniel Levy masterclass. Oh, yeah, we'll have him on a loan. You're going to pay part of the loan. We'll have him on loan until he's pretty much out of contract, by the way. Then we'll take him on a free. Is that right? Yeah. That's pretty much how it's going to work, isn't it? Like, decent. So I think all in all, recruitment's pretty decent. Apart from the Gedson Fernandez, I don't have a clue. That was such a weird one. But obviously, I think I've gone on a bit there about but he's back, so I don't really care. So yeah, what about your thoughts on recruitment? Obviously, you're probably going to shoot down.
Oh, here we go. Christ, I can talk now. Fantastic. Anyway. Firstly, what's the Gedson Fernandez? It was a really. I think it was one of those signings that it looked like he was destined to go to West Ham. Like that was pretty much. It looked for, you know, all it needed was I's dotted, T's crossed, and the ink to dry on the paperwork, pretty much. And he was a West Ham player. And the level of fume, by the way, on social media when we nicked him was ridiculous, and I loved it.
To not play him as well.
Yeah, well, I think when he first came, I was like, I've not really heard of him, not going to lie. But then when he came, I think we were there, Watford away, for his debut, and we saw a little something in there, and I was like, okay. But there was always that thing with Gedson, like, where do you play him? Always been that question mark on him. I've spoken to my dad on numerous occasions about Gedson Fernandez, like, where'd you play him? And my dad kind of summed it up quite well. It was like, he said, look, there's loads and loads of these types of players on the continent that have got a little something, but you just can't work out what. So you have to have them, but you can't work out where to put them. And I think that's probably summed it up, you know, really, really well. He's played central midfield, done okay. Played out on the right, again, done okay, because I think he's got good stamina and a good ability to get up and down. Played right wing back in pre-season, and we thought, oh, here we go, we found a new right back or something to replace Aurier. And then this year, not been included in any squad. So you're like, oh, right, that was short-lived. But yeah, I think at the time that he came in, he plugged the gap, filled a hole, all of those kind of cliches. because of the amount of injuries that we've had. And now we've got, the squad is looking a bit healthier. It's almost like, the plants have been watered again, if you like. He's kind of been brushed aside a little bit, which is a slight shame, because I don't think, you never like to see a player come in and just get totally bombed out, especially one that's on loan as well. I think that's got to be even harder. Like when you come into somewhere on a loan deal, like for however long, and then all of a sudden you're pretty much getting bombed out. Like we got him on an 18-month loan deal. And yeah, within like 6 to 8 months, he's getting bombed out because we haven't got enough room for him, basically. So I think January would be an interesting one, not only for Jedson, but then, should we shift a central midfield player, not mentioning names, but it's okay. But no, should we shift, a midfielder, then there might be space for him. But can I see his loan being terminated in January? More than likely. But like I say, he's just one of those players that is kind of there. Just vibes, I think, is the new phrase to describe him. Just vibes. Jedson Fernandez. Bergvin. Steve. Yeah, I mean, exploded onto the scene in probably one of the best ways possible. Yeah, and then obviously picked up his injury, Burnley away. I think that was our last game as well that we went to before a national pandemic and a global pandemic decided to take over our lives. So yeah, but I think when he came back, there was obviously that game against United where I thought he was decent, but then he was kind of in and out of the team. And I think overall, I think that's been the story of Bergvin so far. He's really been in and out of the team. So there's been inconsistencies in his performances. And I think the byproduct of that, as you mentioned, probably the Antwerp game. Because he's been in and out, eventually you're going to get to the point where, it's hard to gain a rhythm as a player if you're just constantly in and out of the side. It's hard for you to take your chance and perform. But then on the flip side to that, we've got depth in pretty much every position now. So when you do get a chance, you've got to stamp some sort of authority on your opportunity. I don't think it's really happened for him just yet, because I always feel like there's somebody else ahead of Bergvin in the squad. But I think the good thing for him is that the age profile of our wingers might help him, because Son is 28, Bale's 31, Lucas Moura 28. So with Bergvin, he's only 23.
Something like that, yeah.
So he, maybe in a couple of years we might look to move one on, and then he might get his chance there. But then saying that, we've got Jack Clark coming through as well, and I think there's high hopes for him. But yeah, that's sort of my summary on Bergvin. Obviously exploded onto the scene best way possible. Has had flashes of brilliance, but yeah, I think he needs an extended run in the side to gain some form of consistency. No, but I don't know if these Europa League games, the cup games, will help him just gain a little something. If he does play, for example, next Thursday in the Europa League and has a really, really good game, then Jose might be tempted to throw him in a Premier League game or something along those lines. And then moving on from Steve, Doherty's been an interesting one for me. Really, really interesting. We've bought him at what seems to be a snip, right? Because 15 million in today's market is nothing, really. But I did speak to a couple of Wolves fans on Docket, and I was like, are you? And they were a bit like, oh, okay, he's gone. But then when they go and buy someone who's won the Euros in Nelson Semedo, they're a bit like, okay, well, we've just let somebody who's been a mainstay in our team for the last 4 or 5 years go, but we've kind of brought in somebody who's a bit better, so we're not that bothered. It's been, again, an indifferent start to his Tottenham career. I agree with you though completely. It's given and provided Aurier with a bit of competition, which was severely lacking last season. And I think when a player sees that there's no competition for his place, he gets slightly relaxed, and there's no pressure on them to perform because they know, well, I'm going to start next week anyway because there's no one else really that's going to take my place unless I get injured, and I know I'm not going to get injured. So I think that's really what happened with Aurier. And then you see the Ivorian Cafu put in a performance like he did at Old Trafford, and you're like, wow, where's Serge Aurier been hiding? Because that was almost like, this is the Serge Aurier we bought all those years ago. But yeah, Doherty for me, I kind of see Jose's reasoning for buying him, like I say, backup competition, whatever you want to call it. Height profile for the back four because he's lanky is probably the best way of putting it. Can get forward, as everybody was telling me, about his attacking stats, but he's a right back or a right wing back, so I want him to defend really. What's his defending stats look like first and foremost, and there is a massive difference playing in a back three as or five and playing as a wing back than playing in a back four. But I think he's taken to that adjustment quite well. I know he's playing with a back four a lot of the time with Ireland, who were looking pretty hopeless at the minute, I must admit. Again, speaking to my dad about that, he was like, have they not got anybody in reserve to call up for the national team? I said, Dad, they're at the reserves at this stage. Like, that's how threadbare their squad is. But yeah, with Doherty, I don't know if I'm waiting for a little bit more. I don't know if I'm waiting for the Wolves Matt Doherty, if you like, to kind of, and then, or something to click, and I'll be like, right, that's why we've bought him. But yeah, I guess he's, by and large, he's similar to Ben Davies, I think, in the sense that he's a steady Eddie. I know that will, a lot of fans will be quite surprised at that, but for me, I think Ben Davies has been quite a steady player for Spurs. He's not the most glamorous, but I think he gets on with his job and does it quite well. And I think we've almost got that on the other side now with Doherty. Højbjerg. I mean, if you'd have said to me after the Everton game, I was thinking, Christ Almighty, what have we bought here? Because he was horrific. Like, he was actually horrific. And then, I said to my dad, like, Decore cost £5 million more than Højbjerg. Like, just to throw that one in there. But I think since that game, I have to admit, he's been good for us. He has been good. Credit where it's due. He's just taken to the role like a duck to water. Fits like a glove. Handles like Maradona, if you like. He's been brilliant. He senses danger really, really well. He loves smashing people. Loves a theatrical reaction when he gets a little tap on the ankle as well. I think the best bit though was I think it was Aurier's tackle at Old Trafford, and you just see him celebrating that. I was just like, okay. But again, the players speak highly of him, and the fact that he's come in as a leader. You can see his leadership qualities, and he demands a lot from the group of players that we've got, which I think helps. And I think we've missed that massively. I think Wanyama did a similar job to Højbjerg, but he done it in a different way. Like, I wouldn't say Wanyama was like an organizer like Højbjerg is, but yeah, I think Wanyama did that job really, really well, especially in the last season at White Hart Lane. I thought Wanyama was our best player that year. I've said that on many occasions. So I think Højbjerg's come in and done a really, really good job. Probably one of the first names down on the team sheet now, which I think is a massive compliment, not only to him, but, to Mourinho as well. And, I think Jose coming out and saying that the club did well in getting him, I think was a big thing. I think the good thing with the recruitment this time around, like, it's almost like Jose's been backed. And it's almost as if Jose has had a conversation with Levy and said, back me and I will get you what you want. And Levy's gone, okay. Don't know if it was to the level that we've expected in terms of 7 signings, but I think, again, that's a bit of a slight dig at United, because we all know Jose wasn't really backed in the transfer market there. So, yeah, moving on from Højbjerg. Region has done all right, I guess. And okay. Like you say, brilliant going forward and is absolutely rapid. I was a bit sceptical of him playing against West Brom, I must admit. I thought they targeted him a lot. And I think there was one particular game, a fairly recent game. It might have been in the Europa League, or it might have been actually in the loss to Antwerp, where I likened him to Kyle Walker in the fact that he's great going forward, and has got great pace, but can't defend to save his life. So I think I dubbed him like Kyle Walker 2.0. But yeah, I think going forward, he's been great. Obviously, a couple assists in there, and stuff like that. He seems to love being at Tottenham as well. Like pictures of him in Tottenham pajamas. It's just the little things that get to us all the time. But yeah, I don't know if I'm expecting more from him. But I think to get a left back in was a good piece of business. I don't know if it was perhaps high on the priority list. But when somebody becomes available, I guess you have to go for it. And I think we've done that with Region Don. So yeah, no, I think he's been all right. He's been all right. Again, I'd like a little bit more perhaps from him, but yeah, I think so far so good. The two Joes, Joe Hart. Can I say now that I told you so? Because I actually said that Joe Hart wasn't the worst buy in the world. Because everybody was like, Joe Hart, he's finished. He's 33. I said, yeah, 6 months difference in terms of birthdays between him and Hugo Lloris. Yeah, but he's finished. Look, he can't even get in Burnley. He's like, listen, yeah, let me put Joe Hart's CV on the table for you, because he's won the Premier League, he's won the FA Cup, he's won the League Cup, he's got over 50 caps for his country, and he's captained his country. And by the way, he's on a free. And he's English, so homegrown quota. No brainer. And I think in the games, especially in those early qualifying games for the Europa League, I thought he was brilliant. Like you can hear him talking constantly through the game, move that ball quicker. If it's a defender, it might be, get out to him, Serge, little bits like that. So he's almost coaching through the game, which is brilliant. And whoever said Joe Hart's not good with his feet, by the way, needs their head checking, because I think his distribution with his feet has been brilliant. Like he could ping a ball. Like he could. I'm not saying he could play centre mid. I'm not saying he's that good, but certainly do a stint at centre half and clip a ball, 40, 50 yards out to a winger. So yeah, no, I think Joe Hart's been brilliant. Totally agree with what you say as well about the players, taking to him and the fact that he's come in, showing those leadership qualities. And he will help. I think he will help us get over the line. I think if we do go on a slight bad run of games, I mean, of results, it could come in this next batch of fixtures, because we got some really, really tough games coming up. He could be one that will just go, lads, look, chill out, relax, play the way that we've been, stick to the game plan, play our football, and there's quality in here to get something. So I think that'll be crucial. And I think he's loving being at Tottenham. I think he's loving the fact he's at a club that are competing for honours, playing in 4 different competitions. I think obviously that's what Joe Hart's sort of used to, being at City. he's gone away to Torino, West Ham, and Burnley, and it's almost that one game a week kind of feeling. Whereas, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, at Spurs, it's like a game every 3 days. And it's almost like as a player, you get trained and you get tuned to that way of playing. But no, I think Joe Hart's been brilliant. Can't lie. Joe Rodon, interesting one, kind of out of nowhere. Because it looked like we were only set on getting Skriniar. There was always those quiet little links with Rodon, but it was like, I think once the Skriniar links got heavier and heavier, the Rodon ones very, very much quietened down. Come in, left-footed centre-back, rarity. The coaching staff seem really, really happy that they've got him. He strikes me as almost like a Michael Dawson type of centre-back from what I've seen so far, in the sense that I wouldn't say head it, kick it, because that's a bit of a disservice, but willing to put body on the line, will be first to balls coming into the box, and stuff like that. Was also had the armband for Wales in their most recent game as well. So again, showing leadership qualities there. I think he'll be a really, really good signing for us. He'll be an astute signing for us as well, because he'll give balance eventually to the back four with him being left-footed. I think it's always going to be difficult, though, when you're a left-sided centre-back or a left-footed centre-back coming in at Tottenham, because we had Super Jan for so long, and someone did have to pass me some tissues when Belgium played England, because I was like, oh my God, it's Jan Vertonghen. It's Super Jan. Oh, I've missed him. So yeah, it's but no, I think Rodon will be a good signing. Will be a good signing for us. And then that just leaves Gareth Bale, doesn't it? I mean, Katy Perry, teenage dream, right? It's every teen, like, for people of a certain age, the teenage person in themselves is coming out because Gareth Bale signed for Tottenham. Like Gareth Bale, like he gave us, all right. His start to his career was not the greatest. Didn't win for however many games, but then when Harry gave him a kick up the backside, I think that was the best thing that's probably ever happened to Gareth Bale, ever happened to Tottenham. Apart from selling him, obviously, like we didn't want to sell him, but kind of had to. But yeah, Gareth Bale's back. Again, seen some slight flashes of brilliance. He's a different player now, 100%. Matured a lot as a player. Not that you'd know it from some of his antics in Madrid, but he's matured a lot as a player. Yeah. But yeah, I think again, masterstroke, like you said, in the sense that Real Madrid wanted whichever club to pay at least half of his wages, or 60%. We're only paying 40% of his wages. Daniel Levy also got $1 million taken off the loan fee because Bale wasn't fit for a month. I see us signing Gareth Bale, whether that be in the loan deal or in the time that he's now here, or after the loan deal. When I just see us signing Gareth Bale, because the market employ is just ridiculous. Like, however many shirts will get sold, however many T-shirts will get sold, how merchandising. I fear for our head of merchandise, our head of retail, or whatever at Tottenham, because Bale's is just going through the roof. Apologies that it didn't give you the birthday that you wanted, but at the end of the day, mate, grow up. But yeah, I think obviously Bale's back. He's, like I say, matured as a player. He's not going to have those bursts of pace like you say, but he's picking up lovely little pockets of space coming in off that right-hand side. And you can see the quality is still there from some of the assists that he's got recently. The crosses, the passes, that is still there. I think Bale's vision as well is criminally underrated. Like, criminally underrated. Like he can spot a pass 100%. And yeah, I think the front three of Bale, Son, Kane in that order is one of the most feared, I think, now in the league. I think that was I wouldn't say that was the missing piece, the jigsaw, because I still think defensively we're not that great, but we've now got an added dimension in the sense that, you know, we're going to places now and people are going, oh no, is Son going to play? Is Kane going to play? Is Bale going to play? And you think, oh Christ, they're all starting. Like, you know, it's going to be a hard day at the office for any opposition, really, because of the quality that all three players possess. And I think it's actually taken Lucas Moura. You know, it's given him a little something, because I think he's now going, oh right, well Bale's in my play. Like, I've got to work a bit, and I think Lucas has done better. I still think there's always more to come from Lucas Moura, but I think he's done better since Bale's come in. Obviously, that competition for places once again. So yeah, I think. Oh, I've missed one out, Joe. You didn't remind me. Carlos, big Carlos, big Carlos. Yeah, again, seen flashes, but from what I've seen in him, I think he could be good for us. I think he could be really good. As you say, we've got a striker. And I think, but the weird thing, everybody was a bit puzzled that Troy Parrott went out on loan and we didn't really have anybody else. Obviously, Dane Scarlett played in pre-season, done okay. He's been bagging goals for fun with the 18s this season so far. But yeah, I think Vinicius looks all right. I think it was the Burnley game, actually. I think at half time, I would have brought him on, because I think we needed somebody to play with their back to goal a bit and just pin a centre half. You know, whether that's me or Tarkowski or Long, whoever was playing that night, I can't remember now. But we just needed somebody just to pin a centre half and relieve a bit of pressure, because Burnley were coming at us quite a bit and we didn't really have that release valve, if you like. In the Europa League game at home, I think it was against Lask, I want to say. No. Yeah, Lask. Thought he was excellent. Thought he was brilliant. Again, link-up play, coming through like link-up TV. You know, he was excellent. And yeah, should have scored the header. Completely agree there. Should have scored the header. But then I think after that, you know, I think it could have been quite easy for him to let that chance play on his mind. But after that, I thought, you know, he was superb and probably should have got man of the match if he didn't. Because yeah, his runs off the ball and his movement is really, really good. Like, for a big guy, he is quite mobile. So I think that helps. That helps as well. And then I think he also caused West Brom a few problems just by having that, because he is a massive guy. Yeah, that physical presence in both boxes. I'm not saying that Kane isn't a physical presence, but obviously Vinicius is a lot taller than Kane. So again, if you do have, you know, Semi Ajayi, who's absolutely, you know, massive, coming in, at least you've got somebody that you can say, like, to Vinicius, right, you mark him, because at least they're the sort of similar height. But yeah, I think recruitment wise for Jose, by and large, has been good. Obviously, we've both agreed that the strange one is Jedson. Is Jedson Fernandez. Yeah, I think, yeah, the recruitment's been all right. I just think we need more from those players that have been brought in. I think the only one that's probably come in and made that real instant impact is probably Højbjerg. Joe Hart as well. But Højbjerg probably, because, you know, he like I say, he's probably the first name on the team sheet, and actually when he's not played, we've missed him, and I think that was evident against Antwerp, because after 45 minutes he was straight back on the pitch. So yeah, I think that's that for recruitment. Do you see any outgoings January, and if so, who would they be?
Well, that's the thing. I think outgoings has been a bit. No one's really gone. like Kyle Walker-Peters has, but I think that was always going to happen. He was never really in the plans, even under Poch. Apart from that, no one's really gone. Obviously, there's been a few loans, like as you said, Parrott. I think Skip going out on loan, that was a good bit of business because I think that's literally what Skip needed or needs, and he's absolutely smashing it at Norwich. By the way, they're absolutely loving him. But apart from that, not it's been quite quiet, and I do think there will be a couple of outgoings. I'm not sure who, but with the squad being that big, and especially with the Euros as well, and I think that can maybe have an effect because people will be like, okay, I want to be playing, I want to be in my national team and everything. Whether or not it's even loan deals, just to get them out and play. But I can't really pin an individual apart from maybe Gazaniga going. I think he'll end up potentially going on a permanent deal just because obviously he's now non-existent.
A bit like Jetson.
Yeah, but them two can literally just go down a calf each day. Do you know what I mean? But apart from that, I can't really think of anyone, to be perfectly honest with you. I can't really think, he wants out. He wants out, apart from obviously the obvious Danny. But, I keep forgetting that he's even there.
You heard anything on Milan?
You already made that joke. He's getting old now. Look at that. No, but yeah, I can't really think of anyone apart from Gazaniga, Danny Rose, Gedson Fernandez's loan getting cut short. There's not really anyone else, really, is there? Is there?
I think obviously there's links with Delhi perhaps going out on loan in January. I know we've said that we don't perhaps see that happening, but I think Delhi will want to be in the Euros, so it might just be a little 6-month loan deal somewhere just to get him playing as you said earlier, if the situation doesn't change. Heard Winks saying that he might have to assess his situation at Tottenham in January.
Yeah, he won't go though, I don't think. I think he'll get enough minutes in Europa League and Cups, and obviously if he proves himself in them games, then he'll get the chances in the Premier League. Like obviously, I think as people know, we're big fans of Harry Winks. But to be fair, this season he hasn't maybe been the best. He hasn't had his best season so far. I think that's fair to say. But, I think we both, obviously, yes, they do slightly different jobs and everything, but Wink should be in the starting team ahead of Sissoko. I think we both agree with that. I think Gedson Fernandez deserves to be in the team ahead of them. But to be fair, Sissoko's done. I think Sissoko has actually done all right this season, to be fair. Still, there's moments where you think, for crying out loud, what are you playing at? But I have to admit, I have seen an improvement in him this season. I know you'll probably go just get him out still.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's fair to say on Winks. When he has played this season, he hasn't. There does seem to be something missing. That little almost like spark. I don't know if that's the right word for Winks, but I'm sure you know what I mean. That little bit more positivity, that little bit more oomph. I think it has been quite lacklustre. But I think us two are big fans of him. And I think a lot of fans get on his back, don't appreciate what he does do.
What does he do?
And I think Højbjerg coming in has maybe taken that away from Winks a bit. Because I think Højbjerg does do what Winks does as well. He keeps the ball, and Højbjerg does actually play the ball forward quite a lot, but he keeps it ticking over. He changes the game's tempo. And obviously that's what Winks does. So I think having Højbjerg in there, but Højbjerg also has that bit more in terms of winning the ball back. As you said, crunching tackles, intercepting that bit more than Winks. Maybe Jose Mourinho's like, well, we don't maybe need Højbjerg and Winks, if that makes sense. I think that's Winks' problem at the minute. But if obviously Winks is getting assists with England and stuff like that, we haven't, to be fair, we haven't seen that with Tottenham that much, because obviously Winks normally plays it onto someone else who then gets the assist, or so on. But I personally don't think Winks will go. I think he'll get enough game time still. Obviously, if we pick up one injury, say if Sissoko gets injured, Winks will be the first one back in probably. Either him or Gio. There's plenty of game time there for Winks. Because let's face it, we will get an injury. Gio Lo Celso is not exactly the best with injuries. These Argentinians don't seem the best with injuries, do they? But no, I can't see anything happening with Winks, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Fair enough. Just thought I'd get your thoughts on that one, really.
Yeah. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. But yeah, I do have to bring it on to this. Obviously, I know we mentioned it a bit earlier. Obviously, this is all obviously about Jose Mourinho, about us under him. This season, are we going to win at least one trophy? Yes or no?
Yes. As I said earlier, we will win something under Jose. I just can't, for the life of me, pinpoint what that is going to be. Because, as I mentioned earlier, again, the league's few teams inconsistent at this stage. So, if we got a run together, it might help us out. But then with these next batch of fixtures, could prove difficult. Everybody's saying get through these next 6 and we'll see where we're at. Okay, fair enough. I think the League Cup's probably our best hope at the minute. Again, favourable, as I said earlier, favourable draw to get in the semis. And then I think City have Arsenal, I believe. So again, that's one of the teams that you kind of expect to be in the latter stages of a tournament gone. So yeah, I think the League Cup's probably our best hope. And then I think there's also like Newcastle and Brentford in there. So again, if you was to draw one of those, again, you'd say favourable for us to get through. FA Cup, I mean, we don't know at this stage. We don't come in until next year. I'd love us to win the FA Cup. I love the FA Cup, and next year it ends in 1 as well. So there's that behind it. Europa League, interesting one. I always think the Europa League is like up until Christmas, it's annoying, the Europa League for me. After Christmas and in the new year is when it gets interesting, because you get those Champions League dropouts, which I've always found a little bit strange. But naturally their squads should be better than a squad that's, say, built for the Europa League. I know perhaps we're probably in the Europa League on a 1-year loan, unlike some clubs. So it's one of those where I think Jose. The good thing is Jose takes every competition very, very serious, because he loves winning trophies at the end of the day. And so. Yeah, I think he always likes to get the League Cup in and over the line, and then once you get that one, that's the first one, and then the winning habit takes over. You get the taste, you get the feel for it, and then all of a sudden, you go on to win maybe an FA Cup or a Europa League or even the Premier League. So yeah, I'd love us to win the Europa League. If fans are allowed in, it's a trip to Gdansk. Never been to Poland. Either.
Very extravagant.
Well, like I say, I've never been, so I can tick that one off. And I think actually, if we was to get to the Europa League final, I would go as far as to say that is probably, I wouldn't say bigger than the Champions League final. Of course it's not, but it's probably as good an achievement as getting to the Champions League final. Not for Mourinho or for the team, but for the club. To be in 2 European Cup finals in 3 years, I think for Tottenham is unheard of. So I think that in itself would be a massive achievement for the football club. And
I was wondering where you was going with that for a minute. I was thinking, oh God, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot here saying the Europa League. I was like, oh God, but I see your point with that now, to be fair.
and I think it's one of them where Jose might just get me to a certain point. So it might be in any competition, like especially these cup ones, it might be get me to the semi-final or the final, and then I'll win you the game. I'll win you the final. Because I think that, Jose comes into his own in the big games on the big occasion. So obviously we've got City this weekend, so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I think Jose, the finals are where he comes into his own. He really does perform. But like I said, I can't pick what trophy we're going to win. I just have a feeling that we will win something.
Yeah, I think quadruple, mate.
Cheers.
Nah, obviously not. But I'm going to be... I've been quite quiet on this, apart from a few people. I think there's a good chance of us winning more than one trophy this season as well. Because I think, as you sort of clipped on, if we win that League Cup, that's massive. Because that's obviously March, February, or wherever it falls. Yeah. Obviously, it's around there, isn't it? Back end of February, early March. If you win that, there's still a few months left of the season. And if you're still fighting for a couple of competitions in there, especially for us as a club, where we haven't won anything in 12 years, as we get reminded quite a lot, like quite recently. But, I think then the players were like, yeah, okay, let's proper go for it. So I think there's a good chance, of us winning a couple of things. I think League Cup, obviously, that's if we win the League Cup. I think League Cup is very high. I think that, these next few fixtures in the Premier League are going to be very interesting. I'm confident again. I don't know. There's just something with Tottenham at the minute. Even when we haven't played that well, like the West Brom, the Burnley game, we've grinded out results. That's not like Tottenham of old. We get a draw, and that's what cost us before. I'm thinking back to, or we might lose. We lost to West Brom, or I think when we was fighting for the title, or drew, or something like that, didn't we, at home? But we're winning these games, by one goal, and they're big. And obviously City, I'm hoping personally they get a penalty. They've got a good record at penalties at our place, haven't they?
Interesting little fact as well that sprung to mind. They haven't scored in a couple of meetings at our new stadium, by the way.
Exactly. And that's the thing. I think our record against City over the past few years, even away, isn't, I'm saying the past 2-3 years, isn't been awful.
I think our record against City has been quite up and down, obviously since they got Arab money. But yeah, I think it's been quite up and down. We will nick the odd win here, but then you get the games where they trounce us 6-0 at the Etihad, or
I'm not going that far back.
I mean, they beat us 5-1 at White Hart Lane a few years back, and things like that. There was a couple of times where that happened, but yeah, I think with City, like I say, our record's been very kind of up and down. Whereas before the Arab money, it was I guess a bit similar to Villa. I always say Villa away, we've got a fantastic record. It's almost, I wouldn't say a guaranteed 3 points, but you would go, yeah, lovely. Villa away, 3 points, get the job. That used to be us with City at one point. And obviously, like I say, Arab money's changed everything.
But no, I think, but then, then you look at the other fixtures and other teams, Chelsea will be I think I'm more worried about the Chelsea game than the City game.
Mm-hmm.
Because Chelsea, obviously, they're always it's Tottenham, Chelsea. It's at Stamford Bridge as well, where obviously I don't know. But I think obviously we didn't have the best against them last season. Obviously, they beat us twice. We've already beaten them once technically this season in the cup. I know it was on penalties, but we still maybe got that on them a little bit. And And I think if we went there and got a draw, say if we beat City, got a draw, I think fans would be quite happy with that. I think fans would be like, I would take that any day. Obviously, Liverpool, we've got Arsenal coming up. Arsenal do not scare me. Like, I know everyone goes, oh yeah, Arteta, what a man. Mate, I'm not being funny. You got absolute thumped by Villa, mate. Calm it down. Like, what's Aubameyang done since the new contract? Absolute nothing. And you say he's better than Kane? Bore off.
He's got some stars in his hair, Joe.
Oh my God, don't. Oh, you know how I feel about that. He's over 30 years old and he's got stars in his hair. What a pillock. I can't stand the guy. The thing is, I'm so passionate on Aubameyang, yeah, because I've got these people, I'm like, you go, yeah, Aubameyang, he's world class. Well, shut up. He's nothing, mate. Vincent Janssen could do it, mate. Fuck, he's useless. I can't stand Aubameyang. I hate him. He's literally as I think you sent me something before, he's Adebayor. He's Adebayor. Boom. It begins with an A. Boom. Adebayor. Aubameyang. Oh, look at that. But anyway, I'll move on. That's going to be a whole other podcast. I think we'll beat them personally. They don't, Arteta's done a good job there. I'm not going to say that, but they still don't look that good. It's a mid-table team. I think Liverpool are obviously picking up all these injuries.
I've heard they're putting out their under 12s for our game. So I think the 16s are getting a run out in their next game. So by the time we get to them, it might be their under 12s.
But you've got, I think they're not, and they're not even looking that good this season when they do have their full strength team. Like, they got thumped by Villa, good old Villa. But you know what I mean. I think with the league, see at Christmas where we are. I'm not going to say we're going to be winning the league or anything like that because we're Tottenham and. And I might as well say it because we all know he'll get absolutely slated. But, look, we have learned, obviously, yes, as a fan, you're always hopeful when you're that high up. I know it's early in the season, but you can't help but be hopeful. And if you aren't hopeful, what's the point of supporting a football team? Do you know, it's like Villa fans. I bet some Villa fans are thinking, come on, we can at least get Champions League football at least here. Ooh. Do you know what I mean? It is in there. And if it isn't, what is the point of being a football fan? Because it is all part of it. FA Cup, as you said, we'll wait and see where the draw is. But obviously you need to beat the teams what are put in front of you. Simple as that. Europa League, we could maybe do quite well in that. Like, especially because if you think about the League Cup and Europa League, the Europa League will come back around February. So we'll have probably one round of fixtures. Obviously, the 2 legs, if they're doing it that way. The 2 legs of maybe the first game before the final of the League Cup, if we get there. So then if we finish top of the group, we will probably get a slightly easier team. Maybe not one of the Champions League dropouts. So then after the League Cup, if we win that, then we'll probably be on a better course for the Europa League. So Europa League, I think, could maybe be a possibility. And the league, obviously, as I said, see it Christmas. But I could see us winning the League Cup and Europa League. And I tell you what, imagine that. Just give me anything, mate. I don't care. But yeah, I think all in all, good old Jose.
I'd love to see Jose's Instagram though if we win a trophy this season.
I wouldn't come off Instagram. I don't think. I'd literally be looking at all the players' Instagrams with them holding the cups. Like, oh, look at Kane with a cup. Oh, about to. And I'd just be like, can we just shift off a medal to Jan, please? And I'll literally be commenting everything. Just send one out to Jan as a, in the squad. Should bring him back in January as a coach.
if Jan's coming back, can we please have Moussa Dembele back?
Oh yeah, of course. We'll see to that. Don't you worry.
Thank you. Thank you.
But no, I think we've wrapped it all up for the 1 year of Jose. Obviously, spoke about many different things in there. But as all in all, I think we're both quite happy. We're both quite optimistic. But yet again, as I said, this is, look at us all, well, especially me, happy, optimistic. When it comes to May,
it'll be tears. Yeah, it'll be tears.
That corner over there looks quite comfortable, so I'll get rocking practice in. But no, all seriousness, I'm quite optimistic, happy. So bring on these next few games and see where we're at. But I think that wraps it up for our first podcast back. Hopefully it's not months to our next one. I don't know whose fault that was. I don't. But yeah, obviously, as some of you might have seen, I've we're trying to get back on the socials again, because obviously it's been quite a while on that as well. But that's coming back. There'll be more on there, so make sure you're following that. I'll just double check the podcast Instagram, because it's been that long since we've done it. So that way you've got the exact. My phone's frozen. Typical. But that way you've got the exact place of where to go. But if you just type in only one Hotspur podcast, it will come up anyway. Because I'm not very good with phones, so I can't actually see what the @ is. So that is a bit pointless. Very sorry about that. But only one Hotspur podcast on Instagram, Facebook. So make sure you're following on them pages. Obviously subscribe to the channel, give us a like, and get us up and going again. But come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.